Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of According to Michelle. This is a lovely day for us to have another discussion with a phenomenal woman who has been on my platform. This is her third time. And this month of March, I'm really dedicating it to highlighting the strength and success of women and whether I know them, yes or no. So, this is also a lovely opportunity for me to share a journey with you from a friend of mine who is here to talk about something that she wrote. So her first visit was when I first introduced you guys to her, she was the traveler. Then she moved on to talking about her mentor and her favorite teacher. And today we're going to be talking about her book, In My Mind, a collection of poetry and photography from a self-professed ambivert. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I never know that word ambivert existed. I was a month-year old when she showed me the book when I heard about that word. But let's all educate ourselves, shall we? Ambivert, a person who has features of both an introvert and an extrovert in their personality. And that's, I believe it was the Oxford, but Google helped me. Google and the Oxford helped me find this definition. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend Nicole A. Bailey is with us again. She's a self-professed ambivert, a traveler, but today I want to introduce to you the newest author. Put your heads together and welcome my friend, everybody, Nicole Bailey, the author.
Thank you for having me again, Shelly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. The growth and your journey has always been an intriguing thing for me, and I'm happy that you said yes to come again on my
Yeah.
floor and to talk about your journey as an author. So take us back to when, because as I read the excerpt from your manuscript, because she sent me a copy of her manuscript. You said you had
Excerpts.
moments of epiphany, if
Uh-huh.
I'm quoting you correctly. Um, and I'm sure it's a collection of many of those that led you to the final draft. But talk about that first couple of moments, I guess, where you thought that okay, you have something worth putting on paper.
Epiphany. That is a big word. I think a lot of people experience those things, but probably don't even realize that they're experiencing what is called an epiphany. It's like you're opening yourself up to something that you never imagined that you could do. You have a moment where you think and you're saying to yourself, you have an aha moment. That's what it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
what an
Mm-hmm.
epiphany is, an aha moment. So I've had many aha moments, as you and I have discussed in my life experiences. But this one was very different. This epiphany that I mentioned in the book, which happened, I would say around November 2021. And I just felt, and this is something that I've always known. I've always had a creative side to me. I think most of us, I think everybody's a creative. You
Mm-hmm.
can you can relate to that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think we repress it or out of fear or out of not believing in ourselves and believing that we can do more. And I decided that that was something that I wanted to pursue more. It's actually a goal that I've written down years ago, that I wanted to explore my creative side more seriously. But again, imposter syndrome, fear, fear of criticism, fear of, as I wrote in the introduction, fear of your work not being received well, not being good enough. But 2 years ago, or yeah, that November 2021, I just believe that I had gotten to a point, especially at my age, I won't say what my age is, that the time is getting shorter. We have a lot of things inside of us that needs to come out. I wholeheartedly believe that. And this is something that I've always thought of for myself when it comes to creating. So it's not just poetry, it's photography. I'm a lover of music. I was recently talking to a friend of mine that a dream of mine is actually write a song, produce a song, record. I don't want to be a singer, but it's a goal. I have a friend that wants to fly a plane, just to fly from one part of the island to the next. That's all. He just wants to do that, So a lot of us have these little goals or big goals. And we come to a point in our lives where we have this aha moment that, we probably just need to get it done. And I think the pandemic as well influenced that too, that desire to release, to the dreams that you've had, to try to accomplish them as best as possible. So around that time, I decided that I wanted to pursue my creative side, but I was going to need time to do that, time to sit and reflect. And this book is a lot of reflection happening. So I made a huge decision around that time. And it's in the book. I speak about it, but I'm not going to say now what it is. But it was a huge epiphany for me, which led me to this part of my life right now, which I actually questioned too. Up to the beginning of the year, I was saying to myself, I don't think I can go through with this again because of the imposter syndrome and the fear of criticism and just not being good, But it is something that we have in us, and I think we just need to release. I spoke about dreaming a lot. Like I began the year with encouraging persons to dream more. And I am dreaming and just executing those dreams.
Awesome. So was it the poems that came first or the photography? Which what was the order of process?
In terms of putting this book together?
Or because you said you had all of these, you said for the past decade all of these ideas were in. So which one was the first one that came to you, the poetry or the photography?
Well, the poetry was what came first, because these poems were actually written between 10 and 18 years ago. It's a long time. And they were kind of like my little, secret, or my little pieces of me that I kept to myself. So the poetry came first. But because I love traveling, I like taking pictures. But I developed a love for photography, of nature photography, particularly, because I'm a huge fan of being outdoors. I'm a hiker. I like the beach. I like to go to the river. I just like being around nature, trees, flowers. That's my thing. But poetry came first. I don't know. I don't consider myself to be a poet, but I do have something to say. I believe that when you have something to say, it comes out in different ways. And mine just came out through poetry. And as I said, I wrote these many years ago, so I was quite young. And again, back to the introvert, extrovert. I believe that I was an introvert for majority of my life. I didn't come to the realization that I was an extrovert until about 2-3 years ago.
I was just wondering how you discovered that that's who you were, an ambivert. So you're seeing 2-3 years.
So I was an extrovert. So that's how I communicated, through writing. So I wasn't really a social person, very quiet, very reserved. So that's how I communicated, through writing. And I had something to say. And so it came out through poetry. In fact, I would tell you a joke. I wrote about 11 or 12 poems in a 3-month period back 18 years ago. I don't know. It just kept coming, just kept flowing. I don't know why, every other day or every other week, I just had these ideas and they just spill out onto the pages. But as I said, I was not a social person. I would communicate with myself, self-reflection. I did a lot of that. And so I started practicing self-reflection from a long time and going inward. Sometimes I feel like people don't really spend time with themselves, because that's the best way to know yourself, is to retreat inward, and think about your experiences and analyze them, which is basically what I've done with each poem in the book. Yeah, each poem is really about me, my perspective on different things that have happened.
Hence,
so the poetry
in my
came
mind.
first, hence in my mind. So I'm at a comfortable place right now where I could share what I've been thinking about and share pieces of myself. It's like I'm unfolding, you know, like peeling back layers. I'm at a place now where I'm comfortable to do that. Back then, I was definitely not trying to share anything with anybody.
Okay. Do you, okay, so I'm going to tie this question in with something else that you said earlier. Talking about finding your voice. I know you said you're at a place so you're comfortable to peel back the layers and share your story. And an excerpt from one of your poems in the book says, under finding my voice is I have to seek the balance that calls on my heart, negating the doubt that holds my tongue and glorifying the desire to become. This is awesome. I like that. The balance that calls on your heart. So basically you had like a calling that you needed to share your idea. And so I was just saying, what were the steps that you did, or what did you do to bring yourself to this point that says, okay, I do have a voice. I'm going to push past the fear and the doubt, and still speak. What did you do to bring yourself to this stage?
Well, at that time when I wrote that, I was trying to find it. I believe I didn't have it. No, but now I believe I do. But the funny thing about it is that even at that time, you had it. But again, it's the fear that you can't see. You don't believe that you do have a voice and that you can say freely what's on your mind. You can express yourself in different ways, So at the time I wrote that, I was looking for it, I was trying to encourage myself to find it. And now, 10 years later, I can tell you that I already had it at that time, but the difference is growth, maturity, and recognizing that I did have a voice at that time, but I was just, being held back by my own fear. But to get to that point is different for different people. For me, it goes back to self-reflection. As I said before, I'm somebody that likes to analyze my life, different experiences, good, bad, and find a lesson in it. And I think having practiced that over many, many years, I've been able to accept myself for who I am and be confident in that. And I think that's your voice when you have confidence in who you are and you're unapologetic. And it's okay to be an introvert. I thought it wasn't at that time. I thought being quiet and being shy and being, not somebody that is always talkative or expressing themselves or quote unquote standing up for themselves was a weakness. But in reality, that's just your personality and it doesn't have to hold you back. And I've come to that realization now that I kind of was holding myself back. Yeah. So as I said, it's different for everybody to find their voice and to find that confidence. But for me, it's self-reflection, staying by myself. Also, conversations, meeting people, having different experiences. As you know, I've traveled and I enjoy traveling. And I think that has also helped me to develop my personality, going to different spaces and having to not survive, but to thrive and to fit in and to have, great experiences. So throughout the years, I've learned so much about myself from being away from my own country as well. So that's in a way of finding a voice too, finding my voice. Traveling helped me to do that. It really did. It really showed me that the personality that I had, the mindset that I had, the thoughts were appreciated elsewhere as well. So that was a big confidence booster too. So as I said, it's different for everybody. you know, to find their voice. But I think that's how I found mine. And you're still finding it. You're still growing, still evolving, still becoming, as one of the names of the poems are.
I was just thinking when you were talking, you said that whole letting go moment, and I said to myself, free your mind. And when I looked, I realized it's one of your two titles. I didn't even. I mean, I'm familiar with what your book says, but I didn't realize that was in that title. So
see, that is a theme throughout my life, freeing yourself.
Awesome. So what was your first poem? I know you said these things have been written 10 to 18 years ago, but what was your first poem that you wrote?
Among this list here?
Oh, so there are some things that didn't make the list?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So tell us the first poem, whether it's on this list or not, and give us an idea.
How far you want to go back?
Huh?
How far you want to go back? How far you want to go back? Because I remember writing poems in high school, but I don't think I can recall those. But among these ones here, it's not one of the first ones is not on this. It's not on this list. But on this list, I think probably Becoming was one of the first ones. Becoming, and that was written through that 3-month period that I was telling you. I had this energy and this creative energy that was just bursting out of me. And actually that came from a conversation with someone. So my poems are written based on different things, conversations, phone calls, my own mind just wandering.
So
yeah,
what made you decide on these? You said you've been writing since high school, but why this set that we see here in the book?
Well, I didn't really write a whole lot in high school, but I started in 2006 to like most of these were in that time. So yeah, as I said, that came from a conversation. And so I wanted to focus on that point because I was at a time in my life where it was like a year out of university. So I was becoming an adult and having new experiences. And I was just doing a lot of self-analysis and just expressing myself. So that's why I started from that time. And the majority of them were written during that time. That growth period. Yeah.
Okay. So you basically settled on a particular period of time then.
Right. So this is between 2006 and 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014. I haven't written, as I said, if I have something to say, I write it down, it comes through. If I feel inspired, it comes through. When you're getting older, Shelly.
Okay.
Life happens.
I hear you.
A lot of things are happening. You're very busy, whether it with work or family or so. I just never got into that space again because everything else was happening around me. So I just didn't feel it. I've written on and off after 2014. I have a couple that is unfinished, but again, I let inspiration lead me, and if I don't feel inspired or motivated to write, then nothing comes. Writer's block, I suppose. But I have to get into a zone then, let's say. I have to get into a zone. But I focus on that period because it ties in with the in my mind, the self-reflection, free my mind, dreaming, believing in yourself, strong, becoming, be yourself, really focus on my evolution between that time.
So did you match the photography to the poems, or they're both different things? Okay.
That was probably the more difficult part about arranging this book because I have so many poems, so I can choose. And since they were already written, that wasn't difficult to put together. In originally it had 18, but I put it down to 14 because I felt like all of those 4 poems had a specific theme. and it could probably be put into another collection down the line, because I have to write some more around that theme. But the photos, I started taking pictures, like really enjoying taking photographs when I lived abroad. When I lived in France, and France is a very, very beautiful country. There's a lot of beautiful sceneries, and I had my first digital camera, and I just developed a love of taking pictures. So I've collected photographs through the years, and I kept them because I like photography. Also, I published a couple of these pictures locally. And so that's something that I want to take seriously too. So I'm trying to, develop, again, focusing on my creative side and trying to develop it some more. But yeah, I picked photographs that I attach to the themes of the poem. I try my best. Art is selective, as you know. What I see, somebody else may not see.
True.
And I also didn't explain why I chose the pictures. I would just want the reader to look and probably come up with their own interpretation, their own conclusion. So yeah, so I picked photos that they were between Jamaica and Canada, though, specifically those two countries I chose photos from. So that was probably the more difficult one.
That swan is one of your many pictures too.
That swan is I found that
outside of okay.
Yeah. Okay. But to go back to the swan though, again, I love nature. So and I consider myself to be a swan. It's my spirit animal. So I know that I wanted a swan. I wanted a swan on the cover. A swan had to be on the cover. That's what I'll tell myself. And also, how my mind works is that I get ideas. Like the poem titles come through for me first before I even write. So I'm always thinking and always say to myself, I always have a vision then, let's say. And the vision was, I need a swan on the cover. And how I tie that to myself is that I read where, I don't remember where I read it, but swans are very elegant creatures, they glide across the water very effortlessly. They're quiet. I would think that they're self-reflective animals, but I read where under the surface of the water, their feet, the way they're gliding so effortlessly across the water, you wouldn't think that they're working so hard below the surface. So that's how I see myself too, as someone that is quiet, reserved, but I work hard too. I'm a very hard worker, but you can't tell because I don't show. I like grace under fire then, or grace under pressure. So that's why I think the swan is my spirit animal.
Okay, well, I'm learning something more about you.
Yeah.
So this poem made me cringe a little bit because it brought me back to my whole immigrant journey. This is actually 10 years since I've been living in the US. And so when I saw, I was like, oh Lord, especially that first part of it. I'm not going
and you want to mention the poem?
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'll just give you two lines, everybody. Get the book.
Do you want to give them the name of the...
Oh yes, I'm going to tell them. Okay, so this particular one is called Non-Immigrant Visa. It says, I don't want to leave my country. I just can't. This is the land of my birth, is what I chant. And I'm not going to go any further. I'll get the book. I'm going to tell you how you're going to get the book. But when I saw it, I cringed immensely because I remember coming to the decision too to leave the country. And then now being here, that transitioning period between the green card and becoming a citizen and the process behind that and the nerve-wrackingness I had just getting between those two statuses.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this young lady is in my mind.
Yes. I was just about to say that.
Put it on my paper because we wrote it. So tell us about this. How did you come up with this one?
Well, I'm glad
a lot of names coming through that I'm familiar with. Well, go ahead, talk about this one, the non-immigrant visa.
I like that you mentioned that I went into your mind because on the summary of the book, in the summary, a part I said, it is my hope that in my mind becomes a mirror for other people, that they see themselves. So again, I've accomplished that with this. I know you would see yourself in it because of what I know of you. But this one is deep. And you can tell by the length of it, it takes up 4 pages. This one stemmed from a whole lot of inner turmoil that I was going through. And I'm sure you alluded to it. That difficulty of deciding whether you're gonna leave your country or stay. And as I said before, with poetry, if I have something to say, it comes through. And with this particular poem, there was an inner turmoil inside me at that time. And I said to myself, I have to get this out. I have to figure out. I'm a solution seeker too. So if I have a problem, I want to fix it immediately. And writing is kind of therapeutic, right? So I decided, you know what, I'm going to write about how I'm feeling inside. And hopefully, I will reduce the anxiety, reduce the fear, reduce the tension that was inside. And also come to a conclusion or come to a decision. That is something too that I think a lot of people struggle with, being decisive. And through that poem, I actually started my journey of becoming more decisive. So the inner turmoil that I was going through at the time was, you're in your early 30s and, you're working and stuff, but you feel like it's just not enough. You're not thriving, you're surviving. And sometimes that can just be very disheartening. And I was saying to myself, do I need to leave this country? We're from the Caribbean, a developing world. We have smaller economies and maybe less opportunities. And I was seriously at that point considering, like, maybe I need to leave, maybe I need to leave and go better life, so to speak. We Jamaicans always say, go for a better life. And we are known to be, to do economic migration, hard. But at that point, I had lived overseas already. In fact, I had lived overseas twice. And I just didn't have this passion for living in another country. I love my country. It is my home. I call Jamaica my recharging station. Even if I've lived abroad before. I come back home because that's where I feel most comfortable. But as you've read in the poem, maybe when you go abroad, you can have a better life or have more opportunities. So I was torn between whether I should leave or should I stay. So I went on this journey through this poem to look at the pros and cons of life abroad and life at home. And while I was writing, I actually wrote the last stanza was written before the entire poem was finished. So I started the first stanza, and then throughout writing, I ended it. And I ended it with my final decision as to how I feel about that. And hence I am not living abroad. But it came from a turmoil. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, whether you're from the Caribbean or from some other country. Sometimes you just need a break, or you need a change. You need more direction, and maybe you feel like where you are, you feel stuck. Like, I don't like feeling stuck. And I think I felt stuck during that period. And I wanted to become unstuck. And that has happened periodically through my life too. And writing gets me out of that being stuck. So
you decided to go back to your charging station. But I
always go back to my charging station.
I will go where I may, but I will not stay. And I guess that is where you were when you wrote this, whichever country you're in when you wrote this poem.
I wrote that when I was in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
wrote that when
But
I was
you
in
will
Jamaica.
go, but you won't stay there. You
Right. So the
darling, don't
trajectory of
understand.
my life, as you know, I've lived in 3 countries, but I always come back home
Okay.
because it's my home. That doesn't mean I won't stop traveling. I won't
I
stop living abroad,
understand.
but I will always come back home. You know, I will admit at this point in my life right now, and at that point too, which is why I came to that conclusion, I cannot see myself permanently living elsewhere. Permanently. I would go temporarily, maybe for a few years, visit, but I don't see it for myself permanency overseas. But that may change. You know, I'm still evolving, I'm still changing. But yeah, I
And I
don't
mean,
see it for
it's your
myself.
viewpoint. So I have no opinion on whatever you have
Yeah.
said. I was just saying initially when I saw it again, you shared with us the listing of your poems, and when I saw that one, I was like, this one should be interesting. So when
Yeah.
I
It's
saw
an
that it was
interesting
in your
title, right?
summary, I was like, okay, all right, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's real life, right? It's real life. It's real life. My life
Yes,
is
and as you
in
said,
that.
a lot of people will relate to that one, whether or not they were from Jamaica originally. Yes,
Or
sorry.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
So, were you published or self-published?
oh,
Self. Or what was that
self-published.
process like?
Lots of research, lots of picking the brains of other self-publishers who's used the platform. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. You really have to be focused, and you're gonna have a lot of hiccups because I chose to do it myself, like creating the book cover, the formatting, which is something that I never knew before. YouTube University. Um, Throughout the process, though, I hired people to help. I started it, and a wonderful friend came in at the tail end and really revamped the book in a way that I could never have done myself. So I'm very grateful for that.
Awesome.
So if you're putting a book together, it is best that you get professionals to help. But I'm somebody I like to try new things. I like to learn. I like to do things for myself because I have so much more knowledge now. So if some like yourself, if you or somebody else wants to ask me anything, I can tell you because I did it myself initially. But yeah. So it's not for the faint of heart. You'll become frustrated at times. And yeah, but it's definitely worth it at the end because when I got the proof copy, which is what I sent you a photo. I sent you a photo of. I became a little emotional, and I can show you. Here it is. Can't really see it.
Yeah, because you may have to
because of
release
the
your background so we could see it.
yeah.
Release it so we could actually see what it looks like, please.
Let me see.
Awesome.
So this is the proof copy, so and it's a square shape
I
because it
I was gonna say
yeah
it gives you the feeling of an album.
right. That is the idea. That is the idea. So it doubles not just as a poetry book, but as a photo album as well. So I was inspired by, again, my love for pictures and photo albums. You know, I had a photo album made, it was about the same size or a little bit bigger than this, of my family. And so, you know, those are pictures that they can look at whenever they want, you know, but it also would have made the images a lot more visually appealing when it's a lot bigger.
And a standard size book.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not too big to, you know, but yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Oh.
Thank you. I'm gonna do you and your audience a little peek and the photography that is. So the
Okay.
thing I love about it, and big ups to the graphic designer, because I never even thought of this,
Okay.
is to have the images. It makes you feel like you're there when you
Mm.
open the book. I love the sea, so I'm going to show you a photo that
Okay.
I took. You may recognize it.
Okay. All right. I see.
So let me see. So the images go across the page like
Mm.
that. So you feel like you're
Into the
stepping into
water.
the ocean. At least
Mm-hmm.
that's how I
Mm.
felt when I opened it and looked at it.
Okay. So
Awesome.
who's the graphic designer? You
It's a friend of mine.
okay.
A friend of mine. He's mentioned in the book too, so I give
Okay.
him I
I
give
was
him
just wondering why
respect.
if you didn't want to say his or her
Yeah,
name.
because no, I mean,
Or you're waiting for everything to go through first.
yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem. So, words of advice for anybody who wants to take on this journey, whether they're doing self-publishing or going the regular route of getting a publisher, this whole journey of writing, going through the whole process with Amazon and stuff like that, any words of advice you would share with anyone?
What I would tell anybody, it has to be authentic. You have to be genuine. Like you really have to want to do it. It can't be trendy. Because I know one of the things that I feared about this whole Amazon process is because everybody's doing it. And I'm saying to the inner critic in me is like, oh, who am I, to say I'm gonna do a book? What are real authors thinking? But I can't really think like that. If you have a dream, if you have a desire, pursue it, but it has to be genuine. Like you genuinely want to do it. You're not just doing it because, you see your friend doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I do in my life, I try to be as authentic as possible. So if I don't really believe it, then I'm not gonna do it. You
Mm.
know. So start there. Start there. And then when you find yourself with the challenges and the obstacles of doing this, you push through. You don't give up so easily. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, any thoughts for book two, book three? Or you just simmering first?
I always have ideas, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I have ideas all the time, all the time. But again, it is something that the fear is there. I'm human. I'm human. I would love to continue to do it. I already have the idea for the next one, but again, as I said before, I'm gonna have to find inspiration and the motivation to
Mm-hmm.
do another collection. But I don't really want to just focus on poetry. I do want to put out like exclusively just photographs, and probably fiction, maybe. I love motivational books and inspirational
Mm-hmm.
books. So and I've learned a lot of stuff throughout my life. So probably I could use my experiences and put that on paper for people. Because as you have said, you find me very intriguing. My life very intriguing. You're not the only one. Sometimes I don't know what to think of that.
I think,
But
like for me, like when you said in your intro, the epiphany came. I think when you're in Canada, you decided you're gonna pack your bag and go. I would have those moments, and I think when I was younger, I think I had that more fight or flight. These days,
more
I
frequently, yeah.
pause, look left, look
You're
right,
judge
then
you're
right
judging
again
you're
before I
judging
cross the
yourself
street,
more,
and then some. Huh?
you're being more cautious.
I guess so. So and so some of the time I wish I was back in the day in quotation when I wasn't so scared, I guess, in some things. I guess
Mm.
because of life
Yeah.
decisions, like you had some moments that invite you based on that fright or flight situation. But
Mhm.
then I think sometimes it's also good to just launch out. If just do it. Just launch
Just
out.
do it. Just
Do
do
it.
it.
Do it.
I
Because
mean,
by
I
the
mean
time
that,
you procrastinate, a month
yeah,
pass, a whole
you
year
lose the
span pass.
momentum.
There was
Mhm.
as I said, there's a book I'm sitting on. I've been sitting on so many of them, but one of them last year, I actually, said I want to do it as an ebook. I don't even want to do it as a hard copy. So it will be a nice, easy read. And, people can even listen to it in an audio version. And it was pretty much coming again from my journey as an immigrant.
Yeah.
So and I said that one time that you did that caused me to cringe in so many ways. So
Well, don't sit on it anymore. Do
no,
it.
no, I definitely want to get up off of it.
Yeah, in fact, a friend of mine in Australia reached out to me and they say, when they saw this, they were like, I've been sitting on a book for a while too. So again, it is about inspiring others
Right.
to dig deep and to do stuff that you say you want to do. Take them off the back burner and just do it.
Right.
And just do it.
So how many titles you have in the book? As I'm glancing on your listing.
It's 14. 14. 14. It's 64 pages, 14 poems, and 14 photographs to go with each one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. So what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm officially introducing you to a new author, and I'm so excited for that journey, Nicole. Who knows? When we turn on my TV, I hear that you're on CBM and TVJ and CBS and ABC. We're calling it into existence.
Yeah, speak it in. I mean, that works, when you speak things into existence.
But guess what? You start first here. But
I'll always come to you first, Shelly.
To just explode for you and go big. So really congratulations and kudos to you and all your accomplishments. You know what? As I said, you would tell, because we're in a group together, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a group together. And she would make her statement. So when she dropped this book on us, I'm like, did she just say something along that line a year ago? I'm like, she's not hitching. She just think it, do it, get it done. And I really admire that. So
it may seem like I just think it, do it, but there is procrastination in between that you guys are not seeing. there is the doubt and there is the fear and there is, so should I do this? Why am I doing this?
But it seems a shorter time span than it seems to be a shorter time span. So but anyway, whatever you did, I'm appreciative of the fact that you decided to go through, and I pray my desire that a lot of people will be blessed from your writings. And I just say you already have people like myself who say, you know what, let me just get up and just do this thing here. No more itching, as we Jamaicans would say. No more procrastination. So I'm really excited for this journey. Kudos to you and all the best. In my mind, the collection of poetry and photography from a self-professed ambivert, Nicole A. Bailey, is your author.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
I really appreciate you having me again, and thank you for your always
never
supporting
knew
me.
That it would have been a repeat journey, and every time, and
I'll always come back, no matter what's happening.
No matter
what's happening, I'll come back. This is a safe space, as they like to say.
Yes, place where we celebrate people's lives moments, and I'm all here for the celebration. Do have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to hit the share, like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay connected so that you see all my videos when I upload them. Have a good day. And thank you so much, Nicole, for coming.
Thank you for having me again.
Yay!